Hello, good afternoon. Bună ziua și un călduros bun venit. Welcome to the press conference after EU-Moldova Association Council. You will be briefed on the content by High Representative Josep Borrell, who was chairing and hosting on the EU side, Prime Minister of Moldova, Mr. Dorin Recean, who was co-chairing on the Moldovan side. European Commission was represented by Commissioner for Enlargement and Neighbourhood, Oliver Varhelyi, and after their remarks, we will take few questions, probably not too many because time is pressing and all of them have other engagements. So with this, High Representative, I would ask you to start.
Thank you, Peter, and I'm very much welcome the Prime Minister, the Dorin Recean. Do I pronounce well? Recean? Thank you. And your delegation here in Brussels for the annual review of our relations with Moldova. We are meeting at the high institutional level together with Commissioner Varhelyi, myself, you, your team, for the first time after the European Council decided to open accession negotiations with Moldova, which is certainly a very important step on your European path. And today we have confirmed that the relations between Moldova and the European Union have never been closer. We have discussed many topics. Allow me to focus on three of them. Firstly, I want to commend the impressive determination of the Moldovan government to advance on the European path. And that despite internal and external challenges. Internal, on the domestic front, key reforms are met with resistance by those who stand to lose from the fight against corruption and vested interest. Externally, Moldova is directly exposed to the consequences of Russia's aggressions against Ukraine. You see Russian missiles and drones violating your airspace. This difficult context has not prevented Moldova from making remarkable efforts to get closer to the European Union. And I want to use this opportunity to encourage you, my dear Prime Minister, to continue along this path and also to ensure that the citizens all across Moldova, without exceptions, enjoy tangible benefits as a result of this process. If they see the benefits that they could have on their ordinary life, they will support the process stronger. You will organize a referendum on Moldova European path together with the presidential elections in October. This will be a great date, both presidential elections and a referendum on the European path. This will be the greatest opportunity for the Moldovan citizens to express themselves on the European Union aspirations. And at the same time, we expect that foreign interference, information manipulation and disinformation will only intensify in the run-up to these votes. We know that, we suffer that here in the European Union. Every time there is an electoral process, foreign interference, information manipulation and disinformation appears, and we have to fight against this threat to democracy. This brings me to the second point, that the European Union continues in full solidarity with Moldova. And we do that for many reasons, because you belong to the European family, but also because we see Russia acting actively, trying to destabilize your country. That's a fact. From outside, but also using local proxies to interfere and intimidate politically and economically. Russia has introduced a ban on imports of your fruits and vegetables, to mention a very concrete thing. And in order to face that, we have considerably stepped up our support for reforms and to build up capacities to protect your country against destabilization efforts. We continue to strengthen your energy security and expand sectoral cooperation. I will ask Commissioner Borrell to say more on this. I just want to concentrate my words on the third point, which is how we can jointly address our shared security challenges and further increase Moldova's resilience. For that, today, Moldova has become the first country to sign a security and defense partnership with the European Union. We have done that minutes ago. This is the first country, many others will follow, in order to create a network of friends that builds a strong security and defense partnership. This will include an ever closer cooperation in areas ranging from cybersecurity to countering hybrid threats and disinformation, training and capacity building, and will open new areas of cooperation. On the other hand, don't forget what we have already done. We launched a year ago, I was there, great pleasure, to launch the civilian European Union partnership mission in Moldova. I remember it was a memorable day. This was a step further for us to become a reliable partner. And it will further enhance the Moldova's capacity to fight hybrid and cyber threat. This also comes with financial support. We have been providing more than 140 million for the modernization of Moldova's armed forces through the European Peace Facility. Has already been done. More will come. More will come because Moldova can count on the European Union to continue our comprehensive support for your security, stability, and resilience, to strengthen your democracy, to impulse, to push for your reform process on the European course. I think that the future of the Moldova people, Moldova and Moldova citizens is in the European Union, and this is a battle that has to be won together. Thank you, Prime Minister, Commissioner.
Thank you, Prime Minister. It's your turn.
Today, we participated in the 8th round of the association. This is the first meeting after the historic decision of the Council when it comes to the beginning of accession negotiations for Moldova. We have advanced cooperation in all domains. Today, we can openly discuss very practical, decisive issues, tangible issues, issues linked in to the accession negotiations. So preparing the negotiation framework, organizing national mechanisms for coordinating the negotiation process, and the organization of the first intergovernmental process for accession. We also discussed the opportunities that are opening up for us as a state, as a candidate country, in the framework of the negotiations. We also reiterated that the accession of Moldova is to the EU's advantage. Moldova will become a contributor to stability and prosperity in the region. It's an opportunity for the EU to invest in regional security, and it's an opportunity for investments in Moldova. We're very proud that we can become a member of the EU. Today's session is the platform where we discuss issues at the highest level. We discuss our reforms and we discuss our commitment when it comes to implementing the Commission's recommendations in the fields of justice, the fight against corruption, and de-oligarchization. At the same time, what is very important is economic development, energy security, and social assistance. I assured our friends here that we're firmly decided to implement the reforms that are on our European agenda. These reforms will first and foremost bring benefits and well-being to the citizens of Moldova. So every citizen in Moldova will benefit. I stressed the importance of the fact that our entire society should appreciate the benefits of European integration. Our European path should move at a rapid pace. So I'd like to sincerely thank all of our friends for their assistance and support, their support over the years. These are real tangible benefits for the citizens of Moldova. This year, it's the 10th anniversary of the visa-free regime for Moldovan citizens in the Schengen space. Now, during that period, 2.5 million Moldovan citizens carried out 31 million trips. Also, the suspension of the quotas for products and transport has been extended. For example, we have removal of tariffs on chicken. So citizens Moldovan citizens who travel in the EU have reduced roaming costs. Moldova has become a major supplier of prunes in the EU, and we've also exported a lot of grapes and cherries to the EU. So we spoke about the economic dimension of our cooperation. We also discussed a very ambitious plan, a very comprehensive plan for economic growth. Another important subject is connections in our transport infrastructure. So connecting our transport infrastructure to the EU's infrastructure. We're no longer dependent on Russian gas. We buy gas on the open market. And from 2025, we will be directly connected to the European electricity market. This will be done through the high-tension Vulcanești-Chișinău line. These are things that would have seemed impossible 3 or 4 years ago. We're going through turbulent times, especially after Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Moldova is one of the countries that's been most affected by this war. From the first days of the war, we've stood with the Ukrainian population. 1.4 million Ukrainian refugees passed through Moldova. About 100,000 decided to stay on Moldovan territory. We have given them facilities as well for export of their goods. So Moldova doesn't just want to benefit from assistance. We want to contribute as a supplier of security. In spite of all of the challenges, Moldova has made progress. I believe this is remarkable progress, and we will continue at the same rhythm. Our country has committed to this path, and I'm sure that on the 20th of October, our citizens will, in their majority, confirm this path in the referendum with regard to European integration. Thank you.
Mulțumesc, prim-ministru. Now, Commissioner Varhelyi, please.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to welcome the Prime Minister and his delegation. And I cannot but emphasize, like previous two speakers, that today's meeting was particularly important and significant after the European Council decision in December to open accession negotiations with Moldova. I think that we have been very clear all the way, and also today, that we welcome Moldova's clear and strong commitment to its accession path to the EU. The country's progress in implementing the necessary reforms, as well as setting up all the structures that need to implement those, are substantial. Regarding the steps outlined in our report back in 2023 and then confirmed as still outstanding by the European Council, our focus is now on the justice reform, especially on vetting and appointments of Moldova's core judicial and prosecutor bodies, including of the Prosecutor General. We have encouraged Moldova to complete the last remaining step on the required reforms to make the justice system independent, impartial, accountable, professional, and last but not least, trusted by the citizens of Moldova. We all agree that in a democratic country, a well-functioning justice system is a key for further development and for the EU integration to go ahead. We also encourage Moldova to reinforce the fight against corruption and to continue building a strong track record on corruption investigations and convictions. On de-oligarchization, it is important to implement the dedicated action plan and set up a strong coordination mechanism. We also touched upon the issue of the 2014 banking fraud, where we have applauded the efforts and the hard work done, both in the legislative branch, the executive branch, and then later on in the judiciary. And we encouraged our partners to continue with the impartial investigations and prosecutions and confiscation of assets. From our side, we will continue to support Moldova's effort on the enlargement track, as well as in addressing the challenges posed by the geopolitical context surrounding also Moldova. And I'm very proud to say that since 2021, we have, as EU, mobilized a financial support of 2.2 billion euros already for the country. These investments are spearheaded by the Economic and Investment Plan, which has mobilized already 1.5 billion euros in public and private investments in key sectors like energy, transport, and access to finance, especially for the SMEs. At today's meeting, we also discussed the deepening cooperation across policy areas. Since the last Association Council meeting, Moldova has become part of several EU programs like the Connecting Europe Facility, the Single Market Program, Digital Europe, and the Union Civil Protection Mechanism. In this context, I'm also pleased that 2 agreements were signed today in the margins of our meeting. The first was the establishing of the EU-Moldova Security and Defense Partnership, and the second was Moldova's participation in the Employment and Social Innovation strand of the ESF Plus, the European Social Fund Plus program. The other topic, I think, which is of direct benefit for the citizens and businesses, both of Moldova and the EU, is the reduction of roaming charges, which remains a key priority, something that has started out with the joint declaration signed by the Moldovan operators and the EU operators. Now we need to make sure that this is implemented fully and that we can bring in Moldova to the EU single roaming area. But for this to happen, we still need Moldova to make further progress in alignment with our acquis. Today, we also address the challenges that Moldova continues to face, stemming from the Russian aggression against Ukraine. In this context, we particularly appreciate Moldova's crucial support in making the solidarity lanes operational and keeping them operational, because these remain a lifeline for Ukraine's economy by facilitating the export and import of essential goods. Last but not least, which was, I think, the biggest challenge in front of the country, but now we already see work paying dividends, and that is energy security. With EU support, Moldova has made remarkable progress. Moldova is no longer dependent on Russian gas since December 2022. Moldova not only is not dependent, but it is not even consuming any Russian gas anymore. The electricity grids of the country are now synchronized with continental European grid. But of course, there are vulnerabilities still, something that we need to continue to work on, so that energy cannot be used anymore as a leverage or weapon against the country, be it the election campaign, be it the referendum, or be it just the everyday lives of the people. So I think, to conclude, we came a really long way. And since the historic decision of the European Council of last December to open the accession negotiations were made, Moldova has continued to prove that it can systematically work and deliver on the reforms that are necessary to become a member state of the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you. So with this, we go to questions. Please, let's focus on the topic of EU-Moldova relations. And I understand we have Moldovan media, so the first question will go to Moldovan TV. Please, you can use the mic on this side.
Hello. Hello, my name is Virginia Pintea from Republic of Moldova National Television, Moldova 1. I want to ask Mr. Borrell, how do you think Russia will react after the official opening of the accession negotiation, and how will you help us?
I have to repeat everything I said. I have to repeat everything I said during the meeting. We are providing support. Allow me to stress the importance of our support through the European Peace Facility, what we have done, what we will be continue doing. It has given a complete explanation of all the capacities we are providing to Moldova. Certainly, Russia is not very happy with the fact that Moldova is willing to be part of the European Union. But it's not a matter of Russia, it's a matter of Moldova. Huh? It's the Moldovan people and the Moldovan authorities who matters for us.
Well, thank you, High Representative. I just add that societatea din Republica
Moldova society is going to mobilize. On the 20th of October, it will assert its European path. It will carry out all the necessary reforms. It will become resilient and sustainable in terms of its institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next question, Victor.
Hello, my question is on separate topic. I'm sorry, on the dispute between Spain and Argentina. High Representative, I would like to know what is your reaction to the decision just an hour ago by Spain to withdraw the ambassador from Buenos Aires. Do you think this is a proportionate measure? And if you think this will help to resolve the tensions, and also if you think that maybe these tensions could affect the overall relations between Argentina and the European Union in cases like Mercosur. Thank you.
What do? We are talking about Moldova. Argentina is very far away from Moldova. Nothing that happened in Argentina affects our relationship with Moldova, no? So I can tell you afterwards whatever you want, but I think it would be very unpolite from my side to use this opportunity instead of talking about Moldova and European Union-Moldova relationship to go and to discuss something which has nothing to do with that.
We take one last question from the Moldovan journalists from Zoom who are connected remotely from Moldova, and I see Julia Sarivan from Jurnal TV. Julia, you can wait 1 second until your mic is unmuted, and then you can pose your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Sarivan from Jurnal TV, Republic of Moldova. So my question is, diplomatic sources in Brussels say that accession negotiations with the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine should start on 25 June, or I would say will start on 25 June. Is this date true? If you have information. And Domnul Recean,
Mr. Recean, have you been informed about this date, this start date? Let me start. Our objective is to be ready. By the end of June. And the Commission and the Member States also need time to prepare the ground. So, in other words, there's no set date, but there is a target, a deadline.
Well, I think when it comes to this question, first one would need to reflect on what still needs to be done. If you listened carefully to what I explained to you, I think that there is at least one outstanding issue to be addressed. But we received, again, reassurances by the government that this work is going to be done. Whether this is going to be done before the 25th of June or not, I don't think I can respond to this. The second issue is that on the side of the Commission, we have made all the proposals for the Council to make that decision and call for the first intergovernmental conference, which should be the first formal negotiations. Whether the work in the Council is going to be ready by then, by the date you mentioned. And we can call for an intergovernmental conference remains to be seen. Of course, it would be easier to get there if all the tasks were already complete. Thank you.
Thank you. And with this, Prime Minister has to run, so we have to conclude. Thank you very much. Mulțumesc frumos. Let's see each other very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.